PSG are on the verge of selling João Neves and are now ready to negotiate with Manchester United and accepted a loss on Agati, who they're trying to get 59 million for, but now reports suggest they could be willing to do a deal for 42 million pounds. We're going to give you a recap on everything Agati at the start of today's show, but there is some more news updates coming on Jadon Sancho's potential exit. 3 clubs interested in Sancho, and there is probably a feeling deep down within United that Sancho could go. What is the latest on Hjulmand? Because he's still being watched, but is this his game to get PSG to lower the Agate fee? Are we actually interested in Hjulmand? What's the latest on Frimpong? United have been offered a chance to sign him. Doué. Man United have an interesting plan for Doué apparently, but it's not Desiree Doué. It's the other Doué who's also been linked to Chelsea and Strasbourg. What is the report on that? It's a little bit confusing. We'll dive into that. Then we'll give you a recap on everything Branthwaite, everything Antonio Silva, and everything Wan-Bissaka that came out today. So hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your 10-minute transfer roundup every evening throughout the transfer news on days where there's relevant news. So there's probably about 6 of these a week or 5 of these a week. I do a 10-minute roundup where I round up all the transfer news into a 10-minute video. I give you a bit of a recap on older news that came out this morning and during the day at the end of the video, and all the news at the beginning. So if you don't have time to watch loads of live streams, this is the place to be, so subscribe for that. But Romano has said that PSG are closing in on the deal for João Neves. Now, as much as I'd like João Neves, this is significant because this gives us a position with Agate. Now, this is just a recap on general Agate news that we know. Manchester United have already made several verbal offers for Manuel Agate, but they've been too low. PSG are demanding £59 million, said the other day by Flettyberg. Santi, a very good source of information, said that Manchester United and PSG are close to agreeing a deal for Manuel Agate, and Romano confirmed that Manuel Agate informed PSG he wants to join United. Manuel Agate wants us. He's waiting for us. We're close for an agreement, but the problem was PSG's 59 million price. It's now being said that that price could be lower. So we're going to start earlier with what was said by CM, and that was said that Manchester United are now pushing to sign Manuel Agate. PSG would like 50 million, but United think a price of 35 million is realistic. The two teams will likely meet in the middle. United optimistic. Now, what is in the middle of that? Well, £42 million is basically bang in the middle, £42.5 million. And this correlates with this recent report that it's likely that PSG will lower their 59 million valuation of Agate and take a loss on the player they wish to offload after just one season. Once the deal for João Neves is finalised, PSG might accept an offer around £42 million for Agate. And that seems more like it. PSG trying it on to see if we'll fund the Neves deal. But I think they've realised we're not going to pay that. PSG know they have to take a loss on Agate. They'll want the 50 million they paid for him back. But this is a player that you signed, didn't work after one season because you brought in the manager after you signed him. He didn't suit what the manager wanted to do, and you want to sell. He wants Manchester United. We've made it clear he didn't have the best season. We're not going to pay more than about 40 million for him. You've now brought in João Neves, so you now really need to offload him if you want to get your other targets. We are there. He wants to move £42 million. That could include the add-ons in that. Bish, bash, bosh, done. For me, I think the links to Fofana, Subameni and Hjulmand that have been really active with the last few days is a game to get PSG to lower the Agate fee. And I generally believe PSG are going to lower the price tag and accept a deal under 50 million. And I think that Agate could be done. I think PSG know they're not going to make a profit on Agate. I think they know that. I think they were just trying it on, to be honest. They were just trying it on. Now, one player that we want to make some money on, but we definitely won't make a profit on him, is Sancho. Now, it was said just now actually, that PSG have held talks with Jadon Sancho's camp over a possible switch. They're yet to speak to United, but are keen on Sancho's also open to joining. Personal terms are not expected to be a problem, but Juventus and Dortmund are also interested. Juventus, Dortmund, and of course PSG are all interested in Sancho. Sancho obviously wants to leave Manchester United despite making up with Ten Hag because Ahmad, Garnacho, Rashford are going to be ahead of him in the pecking order. He wants regular game time. I can understand that. I think deep down Erik Ten Hag's willing to offload Sancho. I think United are, as long as we can. But I think the reason they've all made up and everything is because they only want to offload Sancho if we get the right fee. If not, he's going to be some use because he is better than Antony. And I do think we're still, one injury away from, relying on 2 wingers for the rest of the season or Antony coming in. So I completely understand that completely. But it also said that obviously personal terms shouldn't be an issue. And I do think that we will get some advancements on Sancho. I think Sancho, Lindelof will leave. I think Pulisic will leave. I think Mejbri will leave. I think McTominay could leave. And I think Wan-Bissaka could leave. I think Casemiro will stay. I think Eriksen could leave. I think Maguire will stay. Now, what else has been said in regards to ins? It was said that Hjulmand is thought to be less aggressive than Agate, and there is an application of his good positional discipline and experience working in a possession-based side. Now, I think in terms of ground coverage and maybe positional discipline, maybe Hjulmand's got one over on Agate, but I think in terms of tackles and ball winning, Agate's got one over on Hjulmand. I think, to be honest, Agate and Hjulmand are 2 players that I like, but I'm not like I love them. I'm like I like them. They could be good signings, but both of them have elements of risk. I think Human's physical presence would benefit us a lot, but ultimately I would like Subamende plus Agate or Agate plus Fofana. I would like one player that's naturally good on the ball and then a ball winner like Agate because I think we personally get the best mix. Now, in regards to bringing in midfielders, we're going to obviously have to offload some midfielders. And Mejbri, Eriksson, Casemiro, and McTominay were all open to offers for all four of those midfielders. And I think United would particularly like to offload all of them. Now, Casemiro to Saudi has gone cool. McTominay, there's interest there. There's expected to be bids, but Fulham now bidding big for Smith Rowe. Apparently McTominay may have rejected West Ham. I don't know if that's true or not. Now, Mejbri could go, but this is the problem. 1 year left on his contract and could be going on loan, which is essentially letting Mejbri go for free. It was said that Mejbri's in advanced talks to join Rangers on loan. Copenhagen also had contact with Mejbri and United, but with a loan with an option to buy, but he's not keen on their proposal. So Man United are probably going to make a loss on Mejbri. I think there's a good player, Mejbri, but I think because his loan at Sevilla went so wrong, it's just even more difficult for us to get money on him. Like, I think we could generally get 10 million for him, but it's just going to be so difficult because of the loan with the obligation to buy at Sevilla. So probably going to take a loss on Mejbri, but I think United know that he's a good kid. I think he can have a good career, but he's not going to get loads of minutes here and probably just take a loss and move on. I think realistically the focus will be on selling one of Casemiro or McTominay so we can have funds to help further bring in Agate. Now, there's some reports saying we won't sign a midfielder till we sell a midfielder, but I believe that we've got the funds for one more signing, and that will go on a midfielder if it's under 40 million. And then anyone else we do has to come through sales, because we just sold Greenwood, and it was said that the funds from selling Greenwood will likely just go on a midfielder and centre back. But if we sell Sancho, we then may go for a winger. Now, let's talk about right back, because it feels like Wan-Bissaka's going to go. He's open to joining Inter. Inter really want him. There's a discussion of a swap deal with Denzel Dumfries. We'll give you a recap on that in a minute. But one player United have constantly been linked to over the years is Jeremy Frimpong. There was a point where about a year and a half ago in the January window after the World Cup, it really looked like we were going to get him and Wan-Bissaka was going to go the other way, because Wan-Bissaka had only played 4 minutes before the World Cup of football for United. Delay played every minute under Ten Hag. It looked like that Wan-Bissaka wasn't even getting a minute under Ten Hag. And fair play to Wan-Bissaka. He didn't sit there and complain and cause issues like Sancho. He just got on with it and then played, and then he played well, and then he was a big part in the Cup final. It was difficult for him under Ten Hag to begin with, but he made his way back in. So then Frimpong just kind of became less and less and less. And then Alonso came and advanced into more of a winger type player. So I don't know what the interest is in Frimpong, but apparently we've been offered Frimpong. I think maybe Leverkusen are surprised there've been less offers for Frimpong than they thought, maybe because position he's a different player. I'm not sure. Now, another player that Man United have looked at right back is Doué, but this is Guela Doué. I don't know if I said his first name right, but this is right back Doué. This is Doué's brother, who is a right back. It said that Manchester United have looked at him and Rennes were anticipating his sale this summer. Now, we have been linked to this guy before, but I wasn't sure what the credibility was. But I do believe that considering we've looked at Desiree, we've probably also looked at his brother. Now, there's a few other reports coming out from less reliable sources like The Star that United are going to make a move for this guy, but I didn't think I should include that in the video because I don't think we will get this guy. In fact, Fabrizio Romano said probably half an hour ago that Strasbourg are completing a deal to sign Doué from Rennes, expected to be direct club negotiation, not with Chelsea, because obviously Chelsea Strasbourg links. Final details to swap player side, the move expected to be completed for a fee of €6 million. I think we're being linked to him today. Maybe that's just a hurry up Strasbourg. I don't know. Could be one to watch. I don't think we're going to get him. I don't think there's much in it, but maybe we make a surprise offer. Maybe we make a surprise move for Doué, but it's not the Doué that I want. I want Desiree Doué, and he's going to be €60 million, not €6 million. So there's a couple of rumours about this. Again, a lot of other reports about this have come out today, but again, I just don't know the sources and where it's come from. I do recognise HITC, but I don't recognise the other sources. But it'll be interesting to see. But I think that it's probably not going to happen, if I'm going to be honest. Now, let's talk about the plan. Let's talk about the other news, updates and stories coming in. Dan Ashworth and Omar Barada will work remotely on transfers, but negotiations will likely be led by Matt Hargreaves and Christopher Vivel, who've remained in England. Obviously, we know Omar Barada and Dan Ashworth have gone on tour. The others haven't. Christopher Vivel is coming. He's going to work on recruitment. He may be looking at some gems from the RB clubs. I think that is one to watch. I got info that we're looking at the right back from Club Brugge, but no one reliable reported that. So maybe that's one to watch. And I think if Sancho sold, Pedro Neto is one to watch. I think there will be some interesting names. Once we've got the midfield situation sorted, we'll probably go for the second centre-back, which will maybe be De Ligt, Branthwaite, whatever happens there. And then I think, depending on sales, we could be linked to some interesting wingers, fullbacks, etc. In regards to sales, today we were linked to Antonio Silva, but Portuguese sources are kind of known for waffling. Has a €100 million release clause, but United believe they can get for a lot cheaper than that because, to be honest, he was a player that at the beginning of the season I really liked, but he actually, towards the end of the season, didn't have the best season for Benfica. They want to move him on. He's not physically capable for the Prem. I like Antonio Silva. I think he could be a good player at the right club with the right development, but he's not the kind of player United should be signing right now. There's too many question marks over it, and I think we've got Euro in. We don't need another right centre back that's young. I think Euro is better than him. And it was also said that Braithwaite has no intention of signing a new contract at Everton unless they match the wages offered by United, which maybe is a boost for United, who knows. But the Muppeteers had a feeling we're going to come back in with a third offer for Braithwaite, and it might not be over yet despite reports. And the last story was this, and this is a recap from what I said in my live show earlier today, but if you didn't watch that, it was said by David Ornstein, an idea that would see Wan-Bissaka go to Inter and Denzel Dumfries join United is being discussed, although nothing is advanced. Now, personally, in my opinion, Dumfries is a good player, is a good right back. I'm not going to be upset if this happens, but I do prefer Mashraoui, although apparently he has an agreement with West Ham. I do prefer Ferdy, I do prefer Vanderson, I do prefer the other right back options out there. But listen, people, that is the end of today's 10-minute transfer roundup, which is actually going to be 11 minutes. Please hit the like button on the way out, and of course subscribe down below if you're new, because remember, I go live every single morning, every single afternoon, and then I do a 10-minute roundup every single evening, so you're up to date on all things Manchester United. I tell you if the source is good, I tell you if the source is bad, I get to the point, so please do subscribe.